Hey everyone, JT here. Welcome to The Huddle. The Huddle is where I sit down with other successful people from the world of sport and coaching. And the intention is to learn more about their journey to greatness. And the reason we do that is success always leaves clues. So happy Friday, everyone. Whether you are tuning in live, whether you are checking out the replay, I wanted to acknowledge you for choosing to invest your time and energy into being with us here today. So I've been looking forward to this conversation. I'm really enthused. Today, my guest I've known for many years. I first met him when I went to my former school, Banting, where he was actually in my civics and careers class as a big strap in grade 10. And we tried to convince him to come out for football. And then I think one of the first conversations was, I like baseball. And over the years, we've stayed connected. I've had the great pleasure of teaching him and coaching him. And over the last few years, I've seen him grow and evolve, watching his journey unfold as he went down to the US on a baseball scholarship and watching him transition as a minor league baseball player to now where he is a leader in the wellness space as the owner of Whole Fit, which is a functional fitness gym in Lucan, Ontario, which for any of you that are wondering is just outside of London. So please help me welcome and thank you for coming on, Jon Celestino. Thanks for coming on, Jon.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Suey, or Justin, I guess I could call you now.
Oh yeah. We're long past our banting day, so please call me JT. Okay, so as I said, Jon, I really appreciate you coming on. And as I said, it's been an amazing last few years. I think we've known each other now for almost close to 14 years.
14
No, actually longer.
years.
We've known each other for 15 years.
Yeah.
I know. Where does time go?
Um,
So what I would love to first know, and whether you could sort of, catch people up to speed, what first got you to fall in love with sport? Like, was there an early memory, something that really stuck out to you as, that time where you're like, oh my gosh, like this is fun. Like I really love doing this.
like no particular memory, I would say, but it was just like the experience of from an early age, my dad had like a baseball bat in my hand, a hockey stick in my hand, like just something to like play with, and would take me in the backyard and set up a tee for me and I'd try and hit the ball over the fence or something like that. It was a small yard at the time, so it was pretty it was relative, I would say, to my strength. Yeah. And then it was just like that fun experience of trying to go yard. So yeah.
Okay. I love that, right? I love the old baseball term, going yard and trying to hit the ball over the fence.
Yep.
So it was interesting. And what I was hearing, what I really heard from you there was it became a opportunity to connect with your dad. So has your dad played a big role in your, development as an athlete?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like from the very beginning, I would say he was like traveling with me wherever I was going. I remember like 16, he would take weeks off and take me down to like whatever spring tournament we were in. The first one I could think of was like Tennessee. It would be Florida, like all sorts of trips. And then like I just remember him like working extra hours to like pay for all of these extra curriculars, and then just trying to like get shifts off so he could come and watch me play as well. So my dad's been there the whole trip, the whole journey. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's so good. And, I've always loved being around your parents. And one of the things I was sharing with you before we hopped on the call was one of my memories is I still picture every time going in the rink, your dad with his big smile on his face, just saying hi and just always, always being there. Yeah. So what, having, your dad be so involved with you in sport at such a young age. And when I say involved, like just being supportive, right? Like that's the one thing, like your dad, I never even heard your dad say anything. Like he was a very like just there to watch, just there to support. What did that was there anything that sort of taught you as you watched him support you, either just physically being there or just financially, making some choices to really support you that way?
Um, yeah, like first off, I think you're lucky to not have heard my dad. I feel like he was talking to everybody. But yeah, like just to have that role model set, it just sets like the foundation to everything I've done since athletics. So like going into like coaching eventually, and then eventually obviously I want to be a father someday. Like being a father, like I feel like he set that groundwork for just being a mentor and being a guide for other people. So um, he's been that rock, I would say, for that experience and that mindset.
Awesome. And what I really love about how you talked about your dad was, the words you used to describe him, right? He was like a guide and a mentor, and was really sort of showing you the way, right? Not only with his words, but by his actions, right? Of being there.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
what I'm curious, what was one of the biggest life lessons that you've learned as an athlete? Because obviously, you played where, from minor to, I mean, in high school, again, you were a multi-sport athlete, a high, level, international level, playing at the international level baseball. You're a great hockey player. Again, there's a reason why I always used to put you out there and during big shifts, right, on D.
Yeah.
And but what did sport teach you? Was like there life lessons that still to this day, really resonate with you and still frame how you live your life?
Oh yeah, like baseball, like in the reason parts of the reasons I love like baseball as like a sport is the metaphors that it has for life. Um, and like just like the men it was really a journey for me. Like so when I got to college, or my last year of college, I should say, I started to really get into the mental side of athletics as a whole. And one of the books that comes to mind is Heads Up Baseball. It was Ken Rizzo. Rizzo, yeah, and he was like Evan Longoria's coach. And some of the pieces was just how you even like looked at the pitcher and thought about the pitcher. And as soon as, and this would probably be my biggest takeaway, was like as soon as you think that person's better than you, then he's already won. The at bat was almost like already over. You were gonna go and like maybe like hit it, but maybe it wasn't going to be the most productive at bat as it could have been. But every time you came in and you thought you were having your best day, or just like having that mindset of you were the alpha and you were the better athlete and all of this stuff, then all of a sudden you gave yourself a fighting chance, and you were going to go out there and give it your best approach. And what the result was the result. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I guess I mean, I could go on and on about other things from just that, where like um, failure is a huge part of baseball, and learning to accept that as well. So, yeah.
Yes, again, so many great things, and I definitely want to spend some time unpacking it. And a couple of things that really jumped out to me as you were sharing at first was the importance of belief, right? And as again, I know you are someone who is very passionate about the mindset. Like you were saying, you fell in love with it as a college, right? As a college level baseball player. How, from your experience as an athlete, and for you now, someone who works with people, who coaches people, who works with people in the gym, how important is belief? Like, how has that understanding of coming up to the plate and believing you can actually hit the pitch? How has that formed in terms of how you work with your clients and how you coach people?
Um, it's belief, I would think, for anything is really like the foundation. And what like the saying is, what if you believe you can or you can't, you're right. So coming into the gym, if you believe you can't do something, if you come in and say, I can't do pull-ups, yeah, you're right, you can't do pull-ups. But we can modify things, or give you skills or give you pieces of equipment that will develop you until you get to that point where you can do a pull-up. So I would say belief is the foundation for any sort of coaching period. Yeah.
Yeah, and so many great things there. I love that, that old Henry Ford quote, right, about right the belief.
Yeah.
And what I really loved about your approach there, and this is what I think makes you an amazing coach, is the progression, right? And in the process, how okay, yeah, maybe you can't do a dead hang pull up, but we can use a resistance band, right? And or we can do this. So I really love how you sort of break things down into creating like a small win for someone, right? And doing that, and oh, so good. Another thing that you shared a little bit earlier, which I wanted to unpack, was that talk about being an alpha. And you and I have had some conversations about what it means to be an alpha, because interestingly enough, I was having a conversation with a friend who's also a leader in the wellness space, and we were just saying how it's interesting how the word alpha sometimes gets a negative connotation, right? That it means something, not good. But the question I would have for you is, what does it mean now to be an alpha? Like, would you say in 21st century, what does it mean to be an alpha male?
It's like, I guess to frame that, like my initial reaction would have been when I first started like all of this athletics mindset, all that things, like the alpha is like the biggest guy in the room. Like he's like the juice head, like he's like, he's probably like raging a little bit. And that was my first interpretation of what an alpha might be. But as I've progressed, I would say like an alpha is, they energetically, I would say they control like the room. There's a presence there that can't be like fully explained, but as soon as you walk in, that guy knows what he wants in life, has control of it, and control being an illusion, but control of it. And they go after what they want ultimately. And so whatever that might look like in a certain environment, it's going to change slightly, I would say. So yeah, that would be
Okay. And I really love that, right? I love how you talked about like there's an energy, right? Like there's a vibration, like there's kind of like you can walk in a room pretty quickly, right? And you can tell, who's calm and confident, right? And again, it's not, like you said, it's not just the biggest, guy in the room, it's not just the strongest guy, but there's an energy about them. And the other thing I really loved about it was just this idea of really presence. So what I would love to know from you is, how has your growth shifted as your belief about what an alpha is? How has that sort of been an integral part of your growth? Like, as you've redefined the word for yourself, how has that changed how you show up in your daily life?
Yeah. It's been there's been steps in my life, and I could think back to these points where like that was a pivotal moment. And I would say like all of this kind of started like end of college, where that idea of alpha, the prior, where it was like the macho man, like doesn't really show his emotions, usually angry, all that stuff, was kind of what I was stuck in. And from there, I would say I was probably had some anger management stuff. Like every time I like in sports, I would get strikeout, whatever, I'd smash things, maybe like do the toss, whatever. And then from there, like I at some point I cracked, and I was like, I need to like see someone, do some counseling. And that was my introduction to like mental awareness and mindset. And so I did a few months of that, and that's what led me to the books. And then from there, it led me to like being more open and vulnerable. And being more open and vulnerable allowed me to start to step into that alphaness and make the changes in my life that I wanted. So when I was started to communicate and tell people like, this is where I'm at, this is, this is where I'm struggling, and this is kind of where I want. I started to change my presence and my appearance to other people. And then that in turn changed my outcomes and the way people perceived me. So,
And I appreciate you being so honest and vulnerable there, Jon.
yeah.
And what I really heard from you was it sounds like you had this shift from being very reactive, right? Where you sort of outside, right? Like you used I strike out, right? That's the result. But then that would dictate then how you just reacted, right? Whether it's throwing the bat down or just getting all pissed off.
Yeah.
But in that process, it sounds like you really started to make this shift towards being more responsive, right?
Yeah,
So as you've learned to become more responsive in your life, how have the results changed? I'm curious.
Um, well, I think the first one would be like the attraction. I'll call it the attraction of my now wife. Like,
Yeah.
I think if she met me prior to like some of the discoveries I've made about myself and like the way I think, then I don't know if we'd be where we are. So just like, yeah, being able to communicate with her, that was been a huge change in my life and one of like the happiest things I would say in it right now. And then from there, like, um, um, owning a gym and like working with people in that regard. So yeah, like just being more responsive and saying uh, like I want to change people's lives. I want to work with people and guide them kind of through what I went, but maybe in different perspectives and different environments. And that's kind of where it led to. So yeah.
Okay. Um, it's interesting, and I really love that, right? And just hearing you, right? I mean, we've had lots of great conversations, and I know how much you love and adore your wife, and she's very um, fortunate to have you in terms of your level of awareness and your growth. So I know she knows that. And the interesting part that you brought up there was these words of helping and how it's really got you focused on helping others, right? Supporting people, right? Whether it's through mindset, whether it's through fitness, whether it's through nutrition. And I'm curious, what role has this idea of giving to others, has that played an important role in your life?
Um, yeah, it's, I would say it's one of like my foundations, like giving back, like one of those things that it fills me up. And um, like I've heard it like a bunch of different ways. It's pretty much like the cycle of like energy is like the more you give, the more you can receive, and you can't receive what you don't give away. So um, yeah, it's what I love to do. I love uh, everything about it, really. Like the experience other people have, the experience I have, the things I learn about myself as I'm doing it, and
Yeah.
it's just that whole like coaching experience it's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I love that you said about giving. And one of the things that my mentor has taught me is he always talks about willingly give and graciously receive.
Mm.
So giving is simply if you have to think about doing it, then it's transactional, right? Like that's not coming from a place. But when you willingly give your time or you willingly give your energy, and I include money in that, and you just do it just like you said because that's just what you do. That it's interesting how you always get back, right? Comes back like a boomerang, right? That law of cause and effect, right? Or you reap what you sow, and all. And so it's really great to hear you say that. Is there a particular instant? Because I know your dad, right, was really, has a big giving heart. Is there any memory that you have from your life where you really remember where giving sort of became just like embedded, like that's just what you do, like you just give back? Like, was there a memory?
A specific one.
Yeah.
Phew. I know, like, hmm, I'm not sure if there's a specific one as much as like I was raised in a giving family. Like I had a mother as a nurse, right? And she's just like that's ingrained in her as well, is to
Mhm.
give her care and love for anyone she was working for, including like us as kids, and then my
Yeah.
dad as well, coming from um, pretty much like nothing,
Yeah.
like as an immigrant coming to Canada, and like he just wanted to give me like the best experience I could have as a child.
Yeah.
And I definitely recognized that, and he wanted to give me every opportunity, even if we butt heads about it, as I was growing up. But he wanted to
Yeah.
make sure like I had damn every opportunity that like he didn't have as a kid. So I think that would be it. It's just like the idea of like my dad and like saying like I didn't have this as a kid, I didn't have this as a kid. You're so lucky, and like I think it was just like yeah, those experiences of that just over and over and just ingrained into my head. Just give back, give back. So yeah.
You know what I love about that, John, and what I really heard from that was, and something, giving is something definitely I've learned more about over the last few years. I've made it a priority in my life. But what I loved about what you shared was it is just so embedded into your DNA that there isn't a particular instance. That's just your norm, right? Like that's what your mom and dad taught you, and you're right. And that's just what you do. Like it's so deeply ingrained in you that that's just your normal.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a like a deep rooted like program, like understanding of like how to live. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so great. Um, one thought that I had as you shared. So one of the things that you and I have talked about in the past is obviously, you've been done very, you had this amazing athletic career, right? And now you really support people in the fitness space, in the nutrition space, in the mindset. This idea of mind, body, and spirit, how has that changed? How has your perspective changed over the last few years as you have grown and prioritized growth in your life?
Yeah. It's become more and more of a, I would say like mindset first mentality for me. Whereas like pre first, this like first awakening discoveries, whatever you want to call it, I would say like I was very physical focused. So like what I'm putting in my body, what I'm doing, and like that was pretty much it. Like go to the gym, go to the cages, hit a baseball, and then make sure you're eating enough food. Whereas like now it's like, okay, the way I think about what I'm eating can totally change the way scientifically I absorb it, to like as simple as that. And then beyond that, the way I think about my my workouts could totally change the intensity that I add to it. Um, Even deeper, even before that, you could look at like how I prepare mentally to like set up my week. So if I'm thinking like, man, I hate working out. I don't have enough time. Um, all these phrases that we kind of catch ourselves saying about like something that we want to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be working out. It's our truth. What we speak is what we believe. So we're not going to have enough time to work out. We're not going to like want to meal prep
Mhm.
or eat the salad or whatever it is. So now in my own self and in the way I coach, specifically with the health and fitness side of things, is okay. You know, I love vegetables. I love the way my body feels when I consume a lot of vegetables. I love the community that is there when you're working out. I love the feeling of like the high fives after. I love that adrenaline rush I get at the end of the workout. All these things, I start to think about those and I start to speak about it in that, like the joy, excitement, love. Then all of a sudden my experience has totally changed from like hating it, dreading it, fearing it, to like loving it, wanting to do it, thinking about it all the time. So it's definitely shifted from that body to that mind side first, and then the body follows. So
Yeah, no, and what I really love about that is it resonates with me because that's a similar philosophy that I have, right, when I'm working with my clients is life is pretty simple. I learned this again from my mentor. Life is pretty simple. It's 95% mindset, 5% strategy. And what I got from listening to your story is when we first start on this growth, we're focused so much on the strategy, the physical, right? Like, okay, I got in the batting cage. I gotta hit the ball, right? What am I eating? What am I doing this? Where all of a sudden, as you get that growth, as you start to explore more, you start to go like deeper, right? It's almost like we're the proverbial onion and we just keep peeling back layers, right? And then we start to understand that the mind really is the root cause of everything, right? The body is an instrument of your mind.
yeah.
And I love that you talked about, the way you speak, like speaking things into existence. Now I'm curious, is that something that you also do with your clients? Like, is that something where do you find that that is an area that you work on with your clients in terms of how they speak?
Yeah, with my one-on-one clients, 100%. I could definitely get better, I would say, in the class perspective, because I'll catch people saying something and I just kind of like shrug it off, whatever. But yeah, if someone's like, oh, like I don't want to do this, like it's just like you catch them, and otherwise it's like anything. Repetition requires more repetition to like break that cycle. So catch it as soon as you can, and then you can break that habit, break that thought pattern, whatever it is, so that you can be more successful in the gym.
Okay, and I love that. What would you do? And sorry, just kind of throw you on the spot. Let's say you have a client that comes in who's just, I mean, we've been there, right? Like, I mean, we've worked with people in the fitness space where, they come in and all of a sudden it's just like complete negativity, all the things they can't do or da da da. What would be that tip to, let's say someone right now is kind of having one of those moments or maybe one of those days or one of those weeks where just seems like things are piling up. What would you tell them in terms of how to maybe just start to shift, create a little bit of shift to feel a little more positive? What would you say to that person?
I think it's not necessarily like one thing for sure. It's more of a process, I would say. It's a lot of questions, but to do the best like explanation I could, it would be like figure out where they're at. Be like be kind enough to ask that question, and like be with them, empathetic. And if it is like a really tough week, just yeah, be with them for that. Okay, and then from there it would be we've discussed this a couple of times, that power versus force. So
Mm,
power versus force, just a like super quick background, is the idea of a force is something that you push and eventually it'll run out of energy, whereas a power is something that can be replicated and just constantly creates its own energy. And it has a lot to do with your emotional experience. So forces are like your anger, sad, fear, all those like negative emotions. So if somebody's coming in with those negative emotions, kind of recognize it, be with them, be empathetic, and then you can start to climb up that energetic ladder. So I'm not going to jump from like if somebody's coming in really sad to joy, because that's a quantum leap. And if you look into power versus the force, they could kind of explain what that really entails. But it's a big jump, and it's really hard for a lot of people to do. So bring them to somewhere a little more neutral, like okay, and accepting where they're at, what I would say would be the first step in being okay with the situation that is at hand, and not necessarily that it's better. It just is what it is. And then from there, we could start to
Mm.
make decisions of, okay, if it is something very specific to, you know, their fitness, like let's say they broke their arm and they're having a bad day about breaking their arm. It is what it is. This is what's happening. Now, where do we go from there? And well, we can train legs, you know, if it was the gym setting, and just finding that next step and working with them with that, and working with them with their language from that place of neutral, where there can be some growth.
You know, I love that answer, John. What I really love is you simply asking questions and finding out where they're at, right? And I love the fact of just allowing people to be seen and right and heard, and creating that space for them. And that is a superpower, John. Like I really want to acknowledge you for doing for having that level of awareness. And what I really loved after hearing that was, okay, let's figure out a solution, right? Like let's, you know, like it is what it is, right? That's the situation. It's happened. It's done. Okay, what do you want to do moving forward? Like I love that idea of really, you know, just coaching people. But again, the coaching comes after giving them the space to, you know, sort of just to be for a moment or a couple of minutes. So I love that. That's amazing, John. That's so good. So here's a question I have for you, and this one might be interesting. Is what is a belief that you used to have that you no longer have? Like, is there something that you believed when you were 16 that now you're like, oh yeah, that's complete bullshit?
Um, Something that I believed before but don't believe now, or shifted. This is the tough questions you're talking about, Sui. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can come back to that.
Yeah, come back to it. Let me mull that one over. You
Okay.
kind of like, I feel like I'm supposed to forget those things. I don't remember
Yeah.
it anymore.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
So what are you working on? So again, I know again you're a leader in the wellness space. You know, you're an amazing coach, and you have this beautiful gym, which what I love about it is it's so functional. Like I love that you go in there and it's, you know, it's a basic, it's not a, you know, you can go in there and you have a great workout and you really work with people, not only physically, the body, but you know, you work on the mindset piece. What are you currently working on right now?
Right now, due to COVID, we're doing a lot more online stuff. So our online programming stems, there's different branches, I would say, of it. We have nutrition specific coaching, we have like your physical coaching, your programming, and then we have like the blend, I would say, of all three, which would be also the mindset. And it could look a number of different ways. It could be as base level as joining and following on your own. It could be joining classes virtually and being on Zoom, or it can be like very specific to you, and you would get like personalized calls, working through whatever mindset things that might be involved with the nutrition or the physical side of your fitness. And it's just that accountability, those check-ins, and just really continuing what we did in person, but now in a new light and new environment, or dojo, if you will. So, yeah.
Okay. And is like, do you guys specialize in working with anyone, or is it pretty like, again, I've been in there and seen the communities, a pretty kind of diverse community that you
Yeah,
work
and
with?
I would say like that's part of our mission, is providing services for everybody. And so we have clients as old as, 80s, 85. And then as you know, our youngest kid fit classes, like 6 to 8, I would say. So
Wow.
yeah. So
Okay.
everything in between we got, and yeah.
Nice. And you know what I love about that though, John? And I don't, what really came up for me was you're meeting people where they're at, whether it's offering classes from 6 to 80, whether it is offering online, one-on-one combination, like it really speaks volumes about your ability to meet people where they're at. So I wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Appreciate it, Sui.
So the last thing I would love to know is, again, it's an interesting time, right? There's depending on what you are allowing into your environment, right? Like, let's say someone is consuming maybe a lot of the doom and gloom in the social media or watching too much of the CNN and Fox News of the world, and they're just not doing well. Maybe they've lost their job, maybe just, life, it's been a challenging year for some. What would you say to that person who they want better results, but they're just not sure where to start? Like, do you have like one actual item that they could do today to just start creating some positive momentum and some wins in their life?
Um, Pick one thing for your routine, just one thing. So the one I always like try and guide people to, I would say, would be like your sleep habits. So
Mm,
sleep kind of corrects or like guides everything else. So if you're getting your like guided 8 hours of sleep roughly, then you're going to be eating better, and then you're going to potentially feel more motivated to also exercise. There's all sorts of studies around it too, where if some individuals are like sleep deprived, they would start to display traits of like diabetes.
mm,
However, as soon as they start to sleep better again, they start to reverse those. So if there is one thing physically that's going to help, it's going to be sleep. And then that just sets up your routine as well. If you know like when you're going to wake up, and then all of a sudden you have this time that you can start to decide what to do with it, be it eating better, exercising, whatever it is. That would be kind of my step one, I would say, for, but routine is like the key, and then what you choose from that routine is ultimately up to you. And again, meeting people where they're at. Maybe sleep isn't an option, so maybe we talk nutrition first. So, but yeah.
I love that. And I just recognize in this conversation, John, what your gift is. And it's a gift that allowed you to play baseball at a very high level. It's what has helped you be, in your transition as an entrepreneur, as a husband, and which I know will continue as you shift into becoming a dad, is this ability, like your process. Like I just realized in this conversation how obsessed with the process of breaking things down to the smallest detail, like simple things like just get sleep and focusing on do that great. And that's what made you a great athlete, and that what makes you a great coach, and that's what's making you great at life. So I want to acknowledge you for your superpower there, brother. It's amazing.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, how can people stay connected with you? Like, let's say that they want to learn more about you,
Yeah.
you know, and I'll be sure to share it in the post and share your handles. What is the easiest way for people to connect with you?
Easiest way, probably, I think Instagram, Coach Jon Celestino, John spelled Jon, Celestino for those
Okay.
Celestino. And then
Yeah.
you could also follow us on Whole Fit Lucan, our Instagram page there, or just Whole Fit on Facebook as well.
Okay. And I'll be sure to share everything on this post and make sure I put all the handles on there so you can get a hold of John, because I definitely know that there are some people who definitely are going to resonate with this conversation. So first and foremost, John, I just wanted to acknowledge you. I wanted to acknowledge you for being a man of character and integrity from the moment I met you, and you were 15 years old to where you're now. I just wanted to acknowledge you for your continued growth and for you choosing to continue to make greatness the standard in your life. So thank you for allowing me to continue to be part of your life, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being a part of it. So you're a huge mentor to me, and I think that's speaks to the ripple effect that you've created as well, and everything we've kind of talked about, where like you gave into me, and then now that's giving out into others. So thanks for that as well.
Yeah, no, anytime, brother. Hey, it's only the start, right? We're only scratching the surface. Still got a lot more time on this planet, and I know we're going to collaborate on lots of things, and be of service to a lot of people. So I'm enthused for it, brother.
Awesome, appreciate it.
So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and as always, please keep sending me the messages. What I would love to know was, what was something that resonated with you? I love hearing these messages. Let me know. Let Jon know something that you took away from this conversation. Because as I said, it's through these conversations where we study other people, right? Where other successful people and learn about their journey to greatness, that we can improve our life. Because again, success always leaves clues. So have an amazing rest of your day, and we will chat very soon. Have a great day, everyone.